you, beautiful darlings, for tuning in together with ourselves. Coming to this beautiful, audacious corner of reality to return your attention back to you. And one of my favorite ways of doing that is flow state. And one of my favorite flow states is music. Very blessed and lucky to have been born in a family of musicians and healers on either side. And I'm so grateful to have been born when I was, to the family that I was born to. What a blessing. It's so beautiful, what an act of radical love to return your attention back to yourself. Especially as it adds more peace and tranquility and centered oneness into your life, and it radiates all around each of us. Beautiful frequencies to tune ourselves with as we are each divine orchestrators of our own opuses. And here we are, all conductors and composers, creating our magnum opus together through the unifying of our harmony. I wanted to read a little bit of something to start. After we got a nice, effortless grounding. Beautiful and cold, crispy cold where I live. And my bandmate, we have a band called Eyes the Cat. We're recording our first album, and we were working on some of the newer songs that we'll be recording, and we just always end up like artists. Night creatures we are. And, I just think it's such a beautiful, wild journey, being human and having the human experience. And what a beautiful unfolding for me personally, sharing, over the last 11 years for myself, of many great practices, I have been able to witness and love and alchemize and dissolve, to actualize bit by bit by bit as gracefully as possible. Because I try to do it fast at first. I was like, whoa, Nelly, I don't want that adventure. No, thank you. Everything with grace. Everything with grace. And it takes the time it takes. And the unfolding and into the blossoming of our highest self, our greatest potentiality, whatever you want to call it, whatever that is, with our energetic imprint or our soul, or whatever you want to call this as well. You choose your words. And that's what I'm going to talk about, is words. One of my favorite artists that my cousin Michael introduced me to years ago, when they had a exhibit in the MoMA in New York, and my cousin was like, oh my god, I have to send this to Ginge because it is so so symbiotic. And so immediately when he showed me her work, it felt like a coming home, you know, like sometimes you just go somewhere, or you could even just be in your house cleaning, or you meet someone, but you have these familiar, like it's akin to you in a familiarity as well. There's an imprint. Like I've always felt that way with David Bowie. Just like I'm from the same family, somehow, energetically, and Helma is the same. And as I've had opportunities of going to see her art over the years since my cousin, thank you for introducing me to my soul family. I cry, I just weep with a smile. It's funny because I'm an observer, and this last one I went to in the MoMA for her smaller works, and just I went in twice or 3 times, and the whole time, but all 3 times, just like tears just streaming down my face, just was like the biggest smile, and my body was just shaking, you know, like when you're overcome by emotions of like frequencies that your physical body doesn't know how to ground. And all these years, you know, I've been so attracted to different artists and different scientists and poets and philosophers and just radical, audacious weirdos that felt like they expressed and tapped in and saw into the same worlds that I tap into and we tap into, and realizing that in some capacities this has to do with our intimacy of sensitivity through all of our senses, and the deepening of our senses through multiple synapses firing off together, creating different forms of synesthetic experiences. And this often, I believe, influences those liminal ways of feeling, thinking, and investigating. meditating, exploring, you name it. And I just, recently, bit by bit, it's like a treasure hunt, but I'm not even on a treasure hunt. I'm not like even looking for anything other than just, And I was watching this documentary about, I'm really, really very passionate about humanity and about every being, everything that is on this beautiful earth. And it's all sacred to me and my heart. And where are they going with that? So I've been watching revolutionary documentaries that are storytelling about the different artists and artist collectives and so on and so forth, in different eras of different civilizations and countries and humanity in general, or countercultures, and found this link with so many of the things that resonate from a soul level. And it is, I feel like I'm not going to say it right. There's often words I don't feel like I can say. I think it's said theosophy, and it was started in Scandinavia. I think it was Sweden, and it branched all over the world. And so many artists, again, like I was saying, artists, poets, scientists, philosophers, theologians, are so influenced by this, and as I come to get more educated about it, it's like reading into a book of the inner experience with synesthesia, and consciousness, and the beautiful paradigm shift, the bifurcation that's going on, where, let's say, like how a lot of people are talking about it is moving from the 3D dimension, and how the 3D dimension has different frequencies. And we know this through how our eyes work, right? So that's a good example, is we can only see with our eyes a certain spectrum, whereas the, I believe it's called the mantis shrimp, they have, I think they're called hectagonal eyes, something like that, and they have the best eyesight of anything that we've ever seen or studied. And they also see into 2 different spectrums, and then they can blend those spectrums together. So they see 3 entirely different worlds than we do, even though they're living in our world, and we see them and perceive them through the 3D. And for myself, since I was a very young child, I've been able to experience things that the people around me weren't experiencing. And I feel, again, so grateful to have been born into this incarnation as Ginge, and go through the life journey and learn all these things and be able to share things that are so beautiful to my soul and have been so beautiful to so many other souls. And all these souls were and have been and continue to be part of this ongoing revolution of the radical human experience of being in life experience of ever evolution. We're ever in our evolution. There's no end to it. There's never gonna be a spot where it's like, okay, well now I'm done. Honey, that's not the adventure we chose. And also the adventure that we chose was one in unity, was one in interdependence together, community care, and all of that stems with each of the things that are conducting and composing. And let's say in like the quantum science realm and quantum physics, they have calculations in the space of why we are quantumly, exponentially evolving, and the universe is exponentially expanding beyond our ability to even quantify it. It's because there's so many humans living on the earth planes that we live on, and each one of us is having a novel experience as, let's say, as the oneness of all intelligence is expressing itself through its unified oneness with us individually, and collectively we are all the intelligence expressing itself through all quantum possibilities, and we are all simultaneously currently living in multiple of those realities, and a lot of us can see it now, and a lot of us could start seeing it when we're young, and a lot of us could start seeing it even more during COVID, and a lot more of us could see it happening more in 2025, and now it's undeniable. We can no longer be delulu. That's no salulu booze. So I'm here as a self-love act for myself, and I know that each time one of us is centered in our self-love and our self-care, if we mother ourselves the way that we mother others, to ourselves first, just imagine. It just keeps getting better and better. And I recognized through being a millennial and being a hairdresser for almost 20 years now, that with social media, I remember in like 2000, I think 11, like 10, 11, like Instagram was becoming a thing. They're like, this is free marketing. There's never been anything like this before. The lore. And I fell prey to it, and so did every hairdresser, and so did every visual artist, and then so did every fucking capitalistic business is constantly selling us through ads. And if you weren't already neurospicy, this has created us to be neurospices, my darling. And if you are around children, have children, and have been living life in any part of your reality without technology, and seeing how your your childhood was in comparison to what children since 2010 plus have been experiencing, you recognize that it's even in the TV, the hyper saturation and the words and the quickness of frames, and how all of this is affecting our biology. And I myself am navigating that and realizing there's so much of the story of like, I need to be healed from this, save me, to the realization of, honey, there's no healing, we're always whole. And we're always whole, but we might be fractaled out through dissociating, through distraction, through addiction, through narcissism, through delulu, through being a people pleaser, codependent, you name it. There's so many different ways for us to fractal out. And we can return back to our wholeness with graceful, what I like to do is like as effortless as possible, flow state, and ever so beautifully blossom out of the biochemical warfare that has been happening with our bodies, internally and externally. And I think a lot of people are finally understanding that we are electromagnetic, organic, chemical machines, our bodies. And there's a lot going on. And the way that it all composes and connects and functions together is through frequency, communication, and what was the other thing I was going to say? Attention. And this is part of it, right? And so, as also part of this is I'm ever exploring, ever little scientist. And so, what I will be sharing is all of the flow states I love and that connect me with my soul, and through that it connects me with the divine and benevolent, unconditional loving energies, and slowly returning myself back to me, returning my whole soul back to me, returning my whole brain back to me, returning my whole body back to me, that I am the composer, that I am the conductor. And what I'm going to read is from a woman named Annie Besant and C.W. Leadbetter. It's called Thought Forms, and they were a very influential part of Theosophy. And so Thought Forms is about different images of cymatics and different symbols and energy, mathematical pattern information regarding intelligence. And I flipped to this page. I've been flipping through it and drawing a couple different things as meditation, and started reading this, and I really wanted to share it because it profoundly hit me. And I know anytime any of us are profoundly moved by something, that there's also a wake of connection that would also find so much joy in experiencing that as well. And through the beauty of sharing that connection through communication, I think it's a very beautiful act that we get to do. And this is another one of my flow states that I love, is research and learning. So this is about figure 43. And I remember when I flipped to this page, I'm like, I don't know if I want to read that one. It's so plain. And I was like, no, it's probably like really good, because it doesn't have to overspeak for itself, because it's so damn good. So figure 43, it's intellectual aspiration. So that logs me in. It says, surely the study of these thought forms should be a most impressive object lesson, since from it we may see both what to avoid and what to cultivate. And we may learn by degrees to appreciate how tremendous is our responsibility for the exercise of this mighty power. Indeed, it is terribly true, as we said in the beginning, that thoughts are things, and it behooves us to remember that every one of us is generating them unceasingly, night and day. See how great is the happiness this knowledge brings to us, and how gloriously we can utilize it when we know of someone in sorrow or in suffering. Often circumstances arise which prevent us from giving physical help either by word or deed. However much we may desire to do so, but there is no case in which help by thought may not be given, and no case in which it can fail to produce a definite result. They're talking in a lot of double negatives here. So basically what they're saying in this part is every single time you have a thought, it begins to become a thing. And it becomes a thing through our thoughts to start with, and it becomes more of a thing as we continue to think them, and it becomes more of a thing as we feel them, and it becomes more of a thing as we speak them. And as we alchemize with all of those, they have more energy, power, and gravitational pull, or magnetism, let's say. And so using the example of, let's say you had a grandparent pass in another country and you were not financially able to make it there and also be there to hold space with your family and grieve together. And so you get to, through thought, some people can do this through actual thought, imagination, meditation, prayer, driving, and you can have those thoughts, and as you have those thoughts, if you're directing them anywhere, they are a thing and they exist towards that. And that goes for any thought, right? What a tremendous responsibility, and what a gorgeous alchemy. Every one of us is an artist in alchemy, and it starts with our feelings and our thoughts, and all of these high vibrations and all of these affect reality perpetually, because everything has a quantum possibility. So anytime something is born, thought, feeling, you name it, multiple, we can't even quantify how even just one thought. It's wild. Where was I? It may often happen that at the moment our friend may be too entirely occupied with his own suffering, or perhaps too much excited to receive and accept any suggestion from without, but presently a time comes when our thought form can penetrate and discharge itself, and then assuredly our sympathy will produce its due result. It is indeed true that the responsibility of using such a power is great, yet we should not shrink from our duty on that account. It is sadly true that there are many men who are unconsciously using their thought power chiefly for evil. Yet, this only makes it all the more necessary that those of us who are beginning to understand life a little, it's us babies, should use it consciously and use it for good. We have power of thought if we employ it always in unison with the great divine scheme of evolution and for the uplifting of all humanity. Beautiful read. If you don't have it, maybe look into it. Even, I'm sure you can find a PDF of it online. And I really love all of it. And there's a bit here at the very end. We have it at our command. We have it at our command. And never failing creation. We can never misuse this mighty power of thought if we employ it always in unison with the great divine scheme of evolution and for the uplifting of our fellow man. It's like going back to the quantum physics and the equations of the expansion of the universe that we are participating in. And just recently watching Terence McKenna's last recorded conversation and interview, and he paints it so beautifully. I was just talking to my bandmate about it, about the divine intelligence being an intelligence ever reaching for itself, and in so doing this, it is expressing through perpetual novelty, and through this perpetual novelty is the quantum infinite possibility of all things as each thing is created. And as we do this, time speeds up and it dilates and it changes. And the reason is because the frequencies change. And not only that, there's other influences of these frequency changes. And also, you have to imagine, or this is what I imagine, being the nerdy synesthete that I am, very, very connected to the intimacy of communication and expression of electromagnetic fields. And one thing I love is being out in a storm, or being outside as a storm is rolling in, and you can really feel the electromagnetic field. Even if you're not tapped into your synesthesia, you feel it, and you know it. There's shapes, there's movements, and there's information on the air as well of what is to come and what is moving forward or towards. And the way storms are made is through the changing of electromagnetism of the earth from its core all the way up through the upper biosphere that is all around the earth, protecting us from asteroids and meteors and a whole bunch of different things. And so if storms are the movement of electromagnetic fields because of expressions of electromagnetics in certain spaces, imagine, as we are humans, each our own generators of electromagnetism in a toroidal shape as a torus. I don't know if I can say that other word right. And as we're each doing that, if we are all on our phone, forgetting that we are soul, we are spirit, we are intelligence, having a human experience, that we signed up for this beautiful experience, yet part of that beautiful experience was quantum possibility of all possibilities possibly playing out. And through the subscription of each and every one of us, each and every one of these stations of what we're composing and conducting, all coming together, all of that changes also the frequencies and the electromagnetism of the earth. And we can see over the last year, especially with this, I believe it's 11-year cycle of the solar, it's the hottest cycle. It's where the hottest part of the sun is directly pointed at the earth, and there have been so many radical solar flares where these electromagnetic readers are blacking out because we're getting hit with so much energy. Like if you've been feeling tired, if you've been feeling headaches, if you've been feeling super fucking emotional and like just so many different things, it is divinely orchestrated, because it is divinely orchestrated through each one of us. And it is divinely orchestrated through each one of us, consciously and unconsciously. And everything that we've ever thought, and everything we've ever felt, and same with our ancestors, like all of that becomes information in the fields. And can you imagine the amount of chaos? We're living in some of the reflection of that. And what is coming to me in this space of understanding is why enlightened beings through time have been alluring us to be one with the present moment, is to stabilize. And it's that simple. It's simply to stabilize. First, it stabilizes you. And as you stabilize with you, you stabilize with your soul. And as you stabilize with your soul, you stabilize with the divine intelligence, creator of all things. And as you do that, you connect with the creator of all things. And as you do that, you get into the alignment of this soul's passion, this soul's purpose, and doing the things that bring you joy every day. And share those with the people around you. And through this, and being present, not creating anything out of delusion, out of masking, out of trauma and trauma bonding, out of psychosis, neurosis, is that even, is this the word I'm looking for? Just, there's a great responsibility. And we're born with entanglements of great responsibilities from all of the generations before us. And as we get the great opportunity to be assisted by these beautiful, benevolent beings that we share DNA imprints and codes with, we are able to, through the quantum expression and web of things, return back to coherence. And every single time there's chaos, you'll notice it in your own life. After the chaos comes order. And so we're in this beautiful shift, we're in this beautiful paradigm of possibilities, and in this sweet corner, this is our intention, and to share and expand this through benevolence and through unconditional love. And in sharing this, I remember when I was investigating what is unconditional love, because I thought I had been loved that way, and then I realized, I was too young when my father passed to really be able to recognize outside of my childlike perspective if he loved me unconditionally. I always felt like he did. And as I got older, I realized that, like, how I feel, at least, is, I think, what a lot of people are experiencing right now. It's a collective thing. There's this mother wound that a lot of us are and have experienced and are having the beautiful gift of healing. And our ancestors and our spirit guides and ascended masters and star families, all of these things, whatever we are connected and available and open to and inviting into our lives, we're able to stabilize generations of time, not just from what we would call the past, but also into the future, generations in all directions, as a spiral of all possibilities. So I'm gonna leave that here, and I'm gonna play a little bit of my zither, it feels like, and I invite you to stay. I know that this has been the amount of space that it has already taken, so please be in your beautiful flow of self-love. And I also invite you, if you are feeling in flow, to gift yourself with your own attention again in the frequencies that ever exude from my expressive being of love, unconditional love. It can be a fierce love. It for sure is a radically honest and truthful love. And sometimes that love, especially when it meets shadow, it doesn't feel like love. And also as a mother, I'm so lucky. I'm best kid. Oh, he still gives me a run for my money, as all kids do. I have to. We gotta fiercely love sometimes. It's like imperative. It's how the Divine Mother also loves. And she is like the coolest. Look at all this. Also, if anyone has like great suggestions on like how one can sit like that for a long time without their feet falling asleep. Help a mama out. It's been like this since I was a kid. I don't know if that has something to do with neurospiciness or not. Okay, let's take a deep breath in through our nose and let out a sigh through your mouth. Come back to your body. However that is, you could be cleaning and listening to this, or standing, drawing. You could be laying down, about to go to bed, whatever it is. Just breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. I always suggest humming. I'll nerd out about that later. It is super good for you and super yummy and a great way to coo yourself to sleep. It's an inner massage and does so many yummy things. So you can close your eyes and just breathe into your nose. Just keep doing that, just breathing in, gently, humming out. Nothing to do, nothing to think about. And if you do, just notice. You know, we're all, myself included, we're all practicing coming back to the presence of us in the now, as our highest selves embodied in these wild, fleshy questions that we get to wear, call human. So as you're breathing in and out of your nose while humming, if you want, you can play a little game with me. To awaken your synesthesia. What color or shapes we're experiencing right now? Just witnessing your inner world. While you're also noticing your body at the same time, fully embodied in presence of yourself. Experiencing itself as the universe internally. Through your synesthesia, moving into so many worlds, intimately communicating with you through different forms of art that really evoke you. And you want to spend more present time with the intimacy of you, sweet boo-boos. There are beautiful, inner, rich worlds within you. to the beyond. Beyond you. Beyond this world. The projections and the absorptions. There's no such thing as being lonely. There's no aloneness in this space, or in these spaces. As we return to them, we realize we are the artists of reality. Each and every one of us participating. So, what a great responsibility that we are so lucky to have and chose to have. Fall in love with you. Oh, the depth of you. Think of the greatest love you've ever had. And then present space of gratitude. Remember how you loved them. The amount of attention you poured into them. The amount of energy. The amount of play. Just imagine you love you. With the same amount of love and attention you served another. Because my loves, we are each the divine chef in our lives. What you're cooking up, you should always taste and feed yourself first. Because my love is too salty. Like some of us can be. And we don't know how to sit with ourselves and our own saltiness. Oh, we can't even taste it because we saw how much went in there. It's gonna be a salty sauce. And so instead of tasting it, throwing it away, starting over, maybe asking for some help, or just making sure we're not too distracted. Projecting. I'm not salty. Your palate's salty. Hilarious. And we all know it's salty sauce. And there's a source which made it. Yeah. Projecting, saying it's not salty, you're salty. What, honey? And living in a world where this virus has infected so many. Projecting, because as we refuse to meet our shadow, it gets louder and louder and louder. It used to be able to just be internal. Now you're 40. Imagine how much you've fractaled out through 40 years of projecting your shadow. Don't you want all of you back? I want all of you back. Because I know when we live in truth, we become safe for ourselves. And when we're safe for ourselves, all that we are is all we project. And as we project, we lose so many pieces of ourselves, and then that gets inserted and absorbed into others, especially those who do not have the boundaries needed to establish. And I'm still learning this one too. It's a great discovery. And even better when shared. And how when we are constantly projecting, we lose more and more presence. We lose more and more presence with ourselves. And we lose more and more presence with real reality that is solid and secure. Because what we project is also what we receive. And sometimes that karma can take lifetimes. And eventually, you'll meet an unconditionally loving mother, an unconditional loving lover, and they love you as much as they love themselves. And they see so much of them in you. Experiential learners we are. We've got to go through it ourselves. If we continue to be surrounded by others who are also hiding and projecting their shadow, it becomes noxious, and everything that touches it turns into constant chaos. And Mother says, enough, enough, enough. Darlings, our hearts are breaking, for there is all this love, and yet you refuse to receive it. Yet you're trying to alchemize and manifest what you are so desperately seeking and needing, yet refusing to give it to yourself all the time and presently. All of us are on this adventure. And that's why it's so beautiful to be around wise people who've experienced much life. Remember, having one of my first conversations as a young person with someone that had fought in the Second World War and also lived through the Great Depression. And to be around their wisdom was felt. Because as a young person, I didn't quite understand what they were saying with the words. But the feeling, the resonance is there, it felt. And how safe we feel in presence of another who's in their presence. All of this for us to experience as much unconditional love, compassion, and regard from ourselves. Because ourselves is all of us. And if you want to call on the greatest love beyond your rejection, beyond what you're trying to make, and alchemize beyond you, come back to you. Come back to you. Come back to you. And whatever you are, that mirror will find you. Now you're going to choose our own adventure. Divine Mother Grace, we thank you. All the love, all the love, all the love, all the love. Just rest here for a moment. Be one with you, trust you, be present with you. Love you. I love you too.